Welcome to worship at First Presbyterian Church in Conrad, Montana. It's good to have you with us in worship today. If you haven't had a chance to do the prayer or preparation for worship, I would invite you to do that now and to pause your video as you do it, as I would invite you to do in other places where you go off to do liturgy or prayer. Again, it's good to have you in worship at First Presbyterian Church in Conrad, Montana. I have a few announcements to share with you today. The first, as before, is I would invite you to make this a worshipful experience. Put all other things aside and let this be the focus as you go through this worship sequence. I invite you, as before, to pick a leader for the parts marked 1. Perhaps there's someone in your household who hasn't done this, maybe a little bit reluctant, but is capable of doing it. I would invite you to choose them this week to do those portions. Otherwise, continue to move it around from person to person. I thank many of you for continuing to provide your offerings and invite you to continue to do that. You can provide your offering by sending it in the mail, putting it in the mail slot, dropping it in the office, or finding other ways to get it to the church. And again, we thank you for that, and we'd like to know as you experience challenges. This is a fellowship of believers that you are a part of, and it's our calling to come alongside you in your challenge. We hope that you will allow us that opportunity if you're in that situation. As you have probably realized by now, we have chosen to have online-only worship through May 24th. I'm very hopeful that some of us will be able to join in person starting May 31st, but with some social distancing practices in place. The task force met Thursday evening to develop our approach to worship when we return to in-person worship, and those details are coming. We'll also continue to monitor the situation, particularly as additional places open up, and we suspect that that may result in an increase of cases across the state of Montana, but we're also hopeful that with the steps that we've taken and the limitations that remain in place, that increase will be minimal and that we will continue to worship in person or return to worship in person on May 31st. Last week I mentioned an evening prayer opportunity on Wednesday evenings starting April 22nd. We met again on April 29th at 7:30 p.m. and we'll continue this for a time as it seems there are a few people interested in that. If you would like to join, I invite you to be a part of that. And the details are on your screen. They're also on the website. If you have questions or if you have challenges in joining, please call the church so we can guide you through that process. Again, it's through the conference call line that some of you are using for worship. And if you don't have a smartphone or are not comfortable running the app, we can also send out to you the liturgy that's used for that program. Just let us know if you're not currently receiving that. I have been reminded that for those of you who do use this conference call line for worship, for evening prayer, for meetings, and for others, this is a long-distance call. Please note that. Hopefully that's clear from the area code to many of you, but depending on your carrier and your plan, there could be a long-distance charge for this. We'll spend approximately 15 to 20 minutes in prayer, followed by a time of open discussion and fellowship. And again, I'd invite you to let that be a part of your week that you look forward to. With that, I'd invite you to go back to your bulletin and to join as a household in the call to worship.